All right, you guys, I am back with another review of the Mortal Instruments City of Bones. Since my last review, I have seen the movie 2 additional times. So I've seen it a total of 3 times. Now I'm ready to talk a little more. This is the spoiler version, and I actually had a comment on my last video asking me, since I've seen it more than once now, has anything changed from my first review to this review? And the answer is yes, and I will get into that. So let's get started. Okay, my critique of all of the characters stays the same with the exception of Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, or Valentine. I must have been on some kind of hallucinogenic, or my ears must have been clogged, or my eyes must have been cloudy, because the second and third time I saw the movie, his acting and his portrayal of Valentine was impeccable. It was amazing. I take back my 85% and I will give him a straight 100. He brought everything to that character. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was because I was sitting next to people that were talking and squealing and I was distracted, and we were just excited over the movie and we missed things. And I must admit, I did miss a few things, and each time I saw the movie again, I would see something that I hadn't seen or noticed. I would notice something that I hadn't seen the previous time before. So that could be it, which is why I'm glad I'm doing 2 reviews. So the first review was my initial reaction. This one is, I've seen it 3 times. So Jonathan Rhys-Meyers was phenomenal in that role. I take it back. It was great. Even though I gave him an 85%, which was really good, great. I changed it to 100. It was perfect. CCH Pounder, who I didn't mention before, I kind of noted, put like some footnotes in the down bar. She was amazing and gave me so much life. She was hilarious in a quirky way, and she was scary as a demon. So it was really interesting to see her portrayal of Madame Dorothea. Jemima West, who plays Isabel, she was great. I loved her toughness, her vulnerability, and it was just really nice to see her and Simon interact together. I loved those scenes. I loved those moments. I love the movie even more now than I did when I first spoke about it, because I've seen everything and I've gotten a bigger picture, a broader picture. I have spotted things that I didn't see before, and I am in love with this film. It is not the perfect book to film adaptation. I didn't expect that, but now I'm looking at it from a lens of a movie goer and a book reader, kind of like a hybrid of the two and not separate. There was a lot of information given in that film. People and critics are talking about, there's a disconnect. I didn't understand this. I didn't understand this. They didn't do this and this. There's too much of this. They didn't explain this. Now, while I agree they didn't explain things, there was a lot of information given in that film. And a lot of it was given indirectly, leaving it up to the moviegoers. It was the moviegoers' responsibility to connect the dots and understand. Now, whether or not that was a good idea or a bad idea remains to be seen. I followed along because I read the books, but I honestly think if you were paying enough attention, you could have probably dotted some I's and crossed some T's with a little bit of information that was dropped along the way throughout the movie, especially with relations to runes, mainly runes. I can definitely tell you that. I remember specifically there were some things dropped along the way about runes, about Clary's ability to all of a sudden be able to move, you know, the furniture like she did at the end of the movie. There were some clues that were dropped throughout the film that kind of let you know, that let you infer what was going on within Clary. Her mind was becoming unblocked, and so her powers and abilities were coming forward. So I'm not surprised that she was able to all of a sudden see a rune in her head, write it, and know what she wanted to do with it. That, I was totally okay with that. And then also with runes, in the conversation after Jace drew the rune on Clary's arm after she passed out from that demon bite, when her, Simon, and Jace were in the infirmary, there were a lot of clues dropped there. Jace even said that humans, you know, that don't have, that aren't aren't touched by an angel, that don't have the natural ability to receive the power of the runes, they won't last through the process, meaning that they will die. So all of that was kind of assumed. You can assume that runes are very powerful and they obviously have abilities. The rune that he drew on Clary healed her, revealed some angelic capabilities in her. So that can be assumed. Now, whether that will be, examined throughout, in City of Ashes remains to be seen, but there were clues dropped along the way in that movie. So I don't think anyone can say, I don't understand what was going on. Well, you can say that, but it's probably because you weren't paying close attention. That's my take on it. Things I wanted in the film, but I didn't get. I wanted the mention of Parabatai or Parabatai, whatever. I wanted the mention of Parabatai because that's crucial to the relationship of Alec and Jace and crucial to the relationship of Valentine and Luke. I'm not going to explain what Parabatai are. Read the books. But it wasn't mentioned in the movie, and that left a bitter taste in my mouth. But I'm hoping City of Ashes will mention that word. It's crucial in my opinion, to the relationship between Jace and Alec, and even Luke and Valentine. More of Luke's backstory. I wanted more of Luke's backstory. I wanted more emotion from Luke, in a sense that him and Jocelyn were like butting heads a little bit in the book because of what how Jocelyn was handling the whole Clary situation. Luke just wasn't okay with it. I do appreciate the fact that in the movie Luke was like, Jocelyn, you need to talk to her. You need to talk to her, Jocelyn. In his Irish accent. I appreciated that. I'm like, okay, good. That is some indication that Luke is not okay with what Jocelyn is doing. Clary's not his child, but he can not be okay with it because he practically raised her too. And so I wanted more of that. I also wanted more of his backstory. Why is Luke a werewolf? How did he become a werewolf? Explain how Valentine is connected to that process, because he is. Again, I'm not going to say exactly how, but Valentine is connected to how Luke became a werewolf. The last thing that bothered me is the fact that Hodge gave Valentine the idea of saying that Clary and Jace are siblings. In the book, Valentine had that idea all along. That did not come from Hodge. Hodge was busy in the book. And so that kind of threw me. I was like, whoa, how is Hodge giving Valentine this information? First of all, what does Hodge have to gain with telling Valentine about Clary and Jace in the first place? Valentine already said that you're crazy. The fact, the spell that's on you, Hodge, is in your mind. Therefore, Valentine is not even going to bother with you in lifting the curse. So why are you even still continuing to feed into this? You obviously aren't going to get what you want, which Hodge realizes in the movie and goes back to put that piece that he removed from the lever that lets the demons in. He puts it back. But I just did not understand why Hodge needed to tell Valentine, hey, here's what you should do with Jace and Clary. That I didn't like that. That didn't make any sense to me. Then the fact that everything regarding Valentine, Clary, and Jace happened at the Institute in the movie, that's not how it rolled in the book. We was in Idris. There was some Idris happening. Valentine went to Idris I'll get to that part in a second. But Luke and Clary and Jace were in Valentine's lair. Valentine had kidnapped Jace in the first place, and then Luke and Clary went to Valentine's lair, and that's when all that stuff happened about revealing, hey, you're my child, and all of that. And at one point, Jace was like on the fence in the book. So I was just kind of like, this is different. But am I upset that it happened? No, it was just weird. Then the part that really threw me, the shocker, the plot twist that I mentioned in my non-spoilery version, is that Clary at the end of the movie still has the mortal cup. What the fudge? That threw me, because that is clearly a deviation from the plot, because in the book, Valentine has the cup and he needs to collect 2 more of the mortal instruments in order to start creating a whole new breed of shadow hunters. And that's what they were trying to prevent. And so at the end of the book, Valentine has the mortal cup. So Valentine is 1, Clary 0 at the end of the book. But in the movie, Clary is 1, Valentine 0. So I'm just like, how is this going to be spun in the City of Ashes? Please explain this to me, because I'm kind of thrown for a loop right now, because Clary has the mortal cup, and that is clearly a deviation from the plot in the book that I read a year ago. So what? All of that to say, I still love the movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10 in my non-spoiler review, which is equivalent to a 4 out of 5. I'm bumping that up to a 4.5 out of 5 or a 9 out of 10 because I got a greater appreciation for it. I saw how everything connected, and I saw what Harold Dwart was trying to do. Was it successful as it could have been? No, because there still are a lot of questions that moviegoers can have about what runes are. Why are warlocks so important? What are downworlders? Why is there an accord between the shadow hunters and the werewolves? Why is it breaking the accord if werewolves go inside the Institute? What is the deal with vampires and werewolves? You know, what are their relationships? There are tons of questions about downworlders that need to be answered. There are tons of questions as to what runes are and how powerful they are. The book of runes, you know, of the whole Shadowhunter world, that wasn't really explained. At the end of the book, Jace is upset with Clary's mom because right now he's under the impression that that's his mom. That wasn't acknowledged. I think it's important to remember that at the end of the book, Alec comes conscious. I think that would have been nice to see. And him and Clary make a truce or have a truce with each other, and they agree to start over. Like, that I think was really important to their relationship as well, because right now at the end of the movie you think Alec is just an asshole to Clary because of his feelings for Jace, which is true. But at the end of the book, I think it should have been acknowledged that Alec and Clary came to, you know, a standstill or a stalemate or a truce or whatever you want to call it, and they agreed to start over. I think that was important to mention, but again, I don't know what they're going to do for City of Ashes. So there's just a lot that I'm waiting on for City of Ashes. I loved the movie for what it was, totally. Book to film adaptation, totally not the worst thing I have ever seen. I will still give it a 9 out of 10. I think critics are being ridiculous in how they're seeing this movie, but the fans are gung-ho over this, and the fans are holding out strong. Continue to go see this movie. Form your own opinion. It is 100% okay to take somebody else's opinion into consideration, but don't you dare take somebody else's opinion as your own. Go and see the movie, form your own opinion, allow your emotions to get taken on a whirlwind, and then decide how you feel about the movie. That is it. That is everything I have to say about this movie. I loved it. I'm happy about it. Leave comments below if you have any questions for me. Anything that you need to say in regards to what I said. Thumbs up this video if I unlock the like or unlike. I locked it on my last video because it really didn't matter. Subscribe to this channel for more videos from me, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.